In the morning with Norm. That's me. And the lovely Bonita. She's here, but we have a special guest today, and it's my son, Jethro. Say hello,
Hi,
Jethro.
everybody.
And he's down from Anchorage, Alaska visiting. And one of the songs that we're going to play today, well, it's the only song we're going to play, is called Milk Cow. And you'll see the first line of the song of the lyric is Jethro got himself a milk cow, and we'll discuss that after we listen to the song. It's a cute song. Thank you, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Jethro got himself a milk cow, and he called her Bess. Jethro got himself a milk cow, and he called her Bess. Milk cow in the morning, milk cow, oh, anytime at a hall. You can tell the early of the morning by the rooster call. He can tell the early of the morning by the rooster call. Milk cow in the morning, milk cow, oh, anytime at a hall. Anytime, anytime at all, anytime. Give your lifetime of pleasure, and all she needs is love. Give your lifetime of pleasure, and all she needs is love. Milk cow in the morning, milk cow, oh, anytime at a hall. Anytime at all. Anytime, anytime. Anytime at all. Anytime. Jethro got himself a milk cow.
Yes, Jethro got himself a milk cow. Here we are today with our special guest, my son, Jethro. He's down from Anchorage, Alaska, and that song was about you when you were a little baby.
Yes, it was.
You were a little baby once and cuter than heck. So, of course, you didn't know what I did then. You just thought I changed your diaper when your mom made me, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was about it. Well, the funny thing about that song is we didn't have a cow. We we had goats. You loved the goats, did you?
They were great.
Yeah. And did you go out and run around with them when you were allowed to grow up? Well, when you could, trot around when about 2 or 3. I can't remember if your mom let you, but I sure liked being out with them.
Oh, yeah, they were fun. They were like buddies to me.
Yeah, if anybody ever had little baby goats or had friends that had little farms that had them, they're just the cutest little animals, and they're exuberant and they love to run around and jump up and down and jump on anything they can land on, and they're just wonderful little animals, and they grow up and give milk, and so they're useful and fun and cute, and lots of people got into. We were like they called us, hippies starting about 1968. Did you grow up being a hippie after the fact?
Yep, for a few years
Did
anyways.
you? And so, uh, d- and everybody was making well. Lots of couples and families got their own farms, small farms, and started to have a garden. We all came from the city, and we were talking about clothes before, uh, and your mom made clothes for you,
She did.
and
Looking back, some of them are a little strange looking, but they were great at the time.
well, they could have been any stranger than the ones I had to wear, which were they were bought at Sparks. That was a department store in Malden where I'm from. Uh, I remember being a child and my mom would she would pick out the clothes, and if I went no 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 I want that one, never. Did that happen to you too?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
You got what you got.
you got what you got. You had to eat what there was, and yeah, and there weren't. We never went to fast food places. Food was a home thing. You ate at home, and actually that was good because uh, it was fresh. You got to sit with the family and friends and relatives. I always liked having Sunday dinner with the relatives, and we'd go from one to the other. My father's family had 8, and you had 2. You have a sister. I had a sister and a whole bunch of cousins. My father had 7 brothers and 1 sister, and so there were lots of cousins. We always got together and had dinners and wore our parents' forced clothes upon us. But you grew up on a farm after your mom and I, unfortunately, went separate ways. But you had goats too, and then, and she kept doing goats.
Yep. And so I had some, I don't know, 10 or 12 goats probably up until I was about 11 years old or so. We used to run around through the woods and uh, they were they were again my buddies and they were a lot of fun.
Well, it's great to have animals and buddies because they would follow you
Yeah, we'd all kind of wander around
when
the mountain
together,
together.
and they wait for that to happen. They got little clocks on their head, and they wait for those times. That's really nice about having animals because they do get very close to you, as your sister. If you had a brother, well, I don't want to do that now. But the animals, they just go with you.
Yeah.
They just go with you. So, but we didn't have a cow, and the picture that I show when people ask, it's me wearing overalls, looking very sexy with no t-shirt on, by the way. If anybody, I was so handsome. And
Still are, Dad. Still are.
well, thanks so much, son. Uh, we were taking pictures for one of the album covers, and we listened to all the songs and said, let's take pictures that relate to the songs. We didn't have a cow, we had goats, but I didn't write a song called Jethro Had Himself a Milk Goat. But you did.
I, I think we had 50 of them at one point.
50, yeah, we did. Yeah, going way back there. Uh, we did, as a family, had quite a bit of goats. Well, we did have a grade A barn and sold the goat milk. And your mother was the major person in that because I was still doing music, and I had a band and we traveled and did tours, play clubs. Uh, a lot of interviews that I've done, people sort of, I don't know how it ever happened, but they started to say when they wrote about these interviews is that I was a goat farmer that turned into a rock and roll dude who had a hit record, who went back to being a goat farmer and was never seen for a long time. But that was kind of backwards.
Yeah, because you weren't the goat farmer to start with.
I was sort of a goat farmer in the middle of it all. And you never became a goat farmer. Did you ever think you wanted to do that?
Nope.
No, that wasn't. Well,
I like
Jethro,
goats though.
oh, the goats are wonderful. I go to the Benita and I go to the fair, local fair every year. We love to go see the goats, and we've had friends that have goats over the years, and but they're just wonderful animals. But can't have a goat if you live in an HOA. And we both live in. Well, you live. Are there goats in Alaska?
I'm sure there are some, but no, you don't see
You
them every
don't see
day.
many.
No.
Well, what,
People,
what? No, but you see moose.
we have moose in the backyard that give birth and their little babies hang out in our yard, which is really cool. And we have bear that come through the backyard. I've even seen a lynx while I
A
was walking my
lynx.
dog.
Wow. Well, I remember one of the times I went up there and we were walking around the resort, and I was a young bear walking by, and the resort looks out for that, and they have loudspeakers, and out of nowhere goes bear alert. That was my first bear alert. It was a young one. It was flopped on by. But so I don't know if bears ever come down here. We've had a few not lions, but
Bobcats?
yeah, they'd come down. But you had a moose that decided to hang out with her baby,
Yep.
and but you couldn't go in the backyard.
No, the mama moose is very protective, so there's more people killed by moose than bear in Alaska because they're defensive about their young. So you don't want to get in the middle of those
Well,
stomping.
they've got the big ones, and
Yeah.
they're quite large
Yep.
animals, and of course all mothers are protective, and animal mothers especially.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure who told me the story, but there was a story about a moose in downtown um, Anchorage that noticed that there were green plants growing inside the bank. You know that story?
Yeah, there's been several videos taken of moose that just like walk into, say, Walmart, and they step on the automatic doors and wander into the store. So there was one at a bank, there was one at a car supermarket. I think there was one in a Walmart. All three in Alaska, and sometimes that makes like national news because here comes a moose right in the store.
I thought it was great. I mean, I wanted to be there, to see this moose come in and chomp down the plants that are decorating the entrance to the bank. A nice looking bank, lobby and everything. And then just leave.
Yeah.
Well, ate it down. But did it happen? Like, what does a bank or a Walmart? I mean, what do they do to? How do you keep a moose out?
Well, he snuck in, and then they try to kind of shoo him out, but it's a little bit dangerous, like I said.
Well, they could kick you with their back legs,
Yeah,
like.
they're pretty big animals, so they're kind of dangerous.
And so, did you give this moose in your backyard a name? Did your and Jethro has a young son named Wyatt. So, and a lovely girlfriend named Amy. So, did you give it a name?
We did not name the moose.
Oh, you didn't name the
That's a,
moose.
we should have.
You
That would have
should
been a
have,
good
yeah.
idea.
And well, all the goats that the family had when we lived on the farm, they all had names. Well, I don't think they all of them did they? Oh my God, I couldn't remember 40.
There was so many.
Do you remember any of those names?
I don't think I do. I was so
Yeah,
little.
you were a little boy. And we were talking before about all the animals then, before and after. And I remembered a story about, I was telling Jethro a story about rabbits. And a part of my life, I had a situation where they were with a girlfriend at the time, and she raised rabbits, and one was named Harriet. And a lot of the rabbits had Harriet was my favorite. So did you have other? I mean, you had dogs and cats, and they all had names.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you couldn't just say, "Hey there, come." Well, did you have a favorite? We all have favorites.
Well, I have a rabbit story if you want to hear that one.
Well, sure, yeah. Tell everybody your rabbit story.
So this is not purely from my memory. It's kind of been told to me, but when I was 2 or 3 years old on the farm, and we had rabbits, and my mom used to slaughter the rabbits and drip the blood into a pan and then bake it. So when I was a little kid, I liked blood pie, which sounds really gross now, but I get apparently at the time I liked it. Do you ever remember trying blood pie?
No, and I would have divorced her before that if I knew she was going to be making that. And she wasn't she didn't favor whipped cream on things, especially whipped cream out of a can. And I would have had to. I You couldn't put enough ice cream and whipped cream and chocolate syrup on blood pie for me. And thank goodness you didn't know better at 2 years old.
I
And we kind of said we were going to talk about that. And I'm sure everybody that's listening going, yeah. Well, we all have, funny stories about living on a farm, totally. And they are fun stories to keep with us. Memories are great and everything. So tell us about, you got here the other day and it was warm and you said, oh, it's so wonderful to be here.
Oh, so up in Alaska, we have pretty good summers, but it's not really hot. So just a week and a half ago, it hit 60 degrees for the first time. So coming down here and having like mid 80s, that's like almost record heat for where I'm from. So um, it was great to come down and be warm.
Sure thing. And I remember coming to visit you one time and tell our people about the time up there where the light, how late the light is.
So coming up in the next couple of weeks, the sun sets at about 12:30 in the morning or 12:30 at night. And so there's 20 hours of daylight and the sun is out for almost the entire time. So it's super warm, super super light. You can spend the entire day hiking. You can read a book at 2 in the morning outside without a light. It's pretty amazing. But the other side of that is in the winter, it's totally opposite. So dark when you go to work, dark when you come back from work, very short days. Um, but the summertime right now is really energizes you with all the light. Although it's kind of hard for my dad to sleep when he comes up there because um, it's not
It's,
dark.
it's not dark. Well, I remember one of the times I came up and you were going to do a barbecue, and I was hungry, and I said, "Aren't you going to start?" And he said, "Well, it's only 9:30." I go, "Yes, I'm hungry." And he says, "Well, it's late till midnight." But oh, and here's one of our other guests. Come on over and say hello. Just go in on your father's side. And here's my grandson Wyatt, and he's visiting with his dad, and he wants to say hello to everybody.
Hi.
So this is Wyatt Norman Greenbaum, and he's named after this Norman Greenbaum right here. So we got 3 Greenbaums right here.
It's the trio. 3 generations. It's a wonderful thing. So I hope you've loved our stories about. I just want to throw another one in. People might like this, and then we're going to say goodbye. Thank you for being here, by the way. Listen, you can see the podcast on YouTube at Norman Greenbaum Music. You can go to my website, spiritinthesky.com, and we have all these things that I always say that we have available for you. I won't go through them today. You'll see them there. Some people want to see what we got. But I once went to visit you with one of my friends named Phil. And that visit was to go fishing. And so we went and met you at your family fish camp. Fish camp. Now there's lots of mosquitoes there, right?
Oh, lots and lots.
And they're big ones. I mean, we have these. I mean, they bite good down here, but they're little nothings. But still, but up there, they get you.
They're like birds.
Yeah, and so my friend Phil, I don't know where this came from, but he was prepared. He said, "Listen, all you people." He's telling natives up there that fish for sockeye who've been doing this for years, how to keep the mosquitoes away. And he goes, "I got the way," and he pulls out a clothes dryer sheet. Like, what's the name of one of those? He pulls out a tiny dryer sheet, and he puts it under his cap. He says, "That'll keep the mosquitoes away. They hate Downy." Meanwhile, he's getting bitten. We're getting bitten. Here comes Jethro to the rescue with a can this big of mosquito spray.
Works way better.
It helped. But it was the funniest story. And he just believed, or he was putting us on. We would have laughed at him, huh? Yeah. And that's our Dr. Phil story. He was a psychiatrist. Go figure. Anyway, thank you, my son Jethro. Thank you for Wyatt for being here. And thank you all for tuning in again. We'll be on YouTube, Norman Greenbaum Music. If you'd like to write in or make comments, it's available. You can always reach my people and me at spiritinthesky.com. Just click on Contact Norman, and we'll try to answer some of your questions in a podcast in the near future. And we appreciate you being here, and y'all take care. Bye, bye, bye.